As these recent Canadian immigrants can attest, moving to Canada can involve a bit of culture shock. While there are good reasons to migrate, there are also reasons why you should not come to Canada. And these are: 1. Don't come to Canada if you hate winter. However short-lived some of them may seem, most of the inhabited regions of Canada have 4 distinct seasons. As opposed to many other places in the world, the temperatures here vary wildly, anywhere from -40°C in the winter to 40°C in the summer, and it's a surprisingly expensive endeavor to ensure you're properly outfitted for each season. That winter coat you purchased in your country before moving to Canada? It'll be useless here. The only guarantee you'll be able to withstand your first Canadian winter is to buy your outerwear after you've landed. 2. Don't come to Canada if you think living here is cheap. Moving to Canada is costly. From housing to shopping to eating out, everything costs more than its equivalent in a country like India or Philippines, and the amounts stated on the price tags are just the starting point. Native-born Canadians are adept at the mental calculations involved in working sales taxes into the stated prices of everything they purchase. For newcomers, however, the added costs can be a shock to the system, and a strain on the purse strings. 3. Don't come to Canada if you do not know how to say sorry. The stereotype of Canadian politeness is as real as maple syrup is sweet. Like most things in life, however, that politeness isn't unconditional. Learn to be liberal in your use of sorry, thank you, may I, excuse me, and please, and you'll receive these courtesies in return. Unlike in many other parts of the world, these niceties don't necessarily signal a desire to be friendly, they're simply a social standard, indicating you see the other person as your equal. 4. Don't come to Canada if you think healthcare is absolutely free. After moving to Canada as a permanent resident with healthcare benefits, you'll be able to see a doctor at no cost, but if you leave the appointment with a prescription, you could be left picking up the tab. Likewise, dental care, which isn't publicly funded, can seriously put a dent in your savings. Third-party health insurance, often provided through your employer, can help offset the often exorbitant prices Canadians pay for dental and eye care, as well as medicines. Oh, and if you think you need antibiotics for what ails you, you'll need to see a doctor first. Unlike in other countries, antibiotics aren't available over the counter. 5. Don't come to Canada if you hate multiculturalism. Take the subway in Montreal and Toronto, or the SkyTrain in Vancouver, and you'll find yourself surrounded by people from all over the world. Multiculturalism is fundamental to the Canadian identity, and plays an important part in the country's politics. What this means to someone moving to Canada is that you likely won't feel the need to fit into any particular cultural mold as you might in India or the United States, for example. More than 40 of the MPs currently sitting in Canadian Parliament weren't born in the country. Provincial governments and municipal councils make room, both logistically and financially, for the celebration of their people's spectacularly diverse cultural heritages. It's a country built on mutual respect, one of the many reasons it ranks year after year as one of the best places in the world in which to live. 6. Don't come to Canada if you do not like giving tips. Tipping in Canadian restaurants, salons and taxis isn't just appreciated, it's expected. This may come as a shock, not to mention an additional 15 to 30% on top your bill, if you're coming from a culture in which tipping isn't standard practice. Just how deeply ingrained is tipping in Canadian culture? Restaurant servers in some provinces make less than minimum wage, with the expectation that patrons' tips will make up the difference. 7. Don't come to Canada if you think you can pick up where you left off. Resuming your professional career in your new country is likely the biggest challenge you'll face moving to Canada. No matter how extensive your qualifications and professional experience, having your credentials recognized in the Canadian marketplace is going to be difficult. Bring as much documentation, such as transcripts, etc., as possible, and make as many contacts in your professional network as you can before immigrating. If you work in a highly specialized field, it could literally take years to become fully accredited to practice in Canada, a fact that, sadly, many urban cab drivers will share with you. Be prepared to put in time in a service position before you actually resume your skilled occupation. And bring more cash savings than Canada's immigration authorities recommend. You'll be grateful for the safety net. 8. Don't come to Canada if you hate paying phone bills. Sad but true, Canadians pay some of the highest wireless prices in the world. Unlike other parts of the world, where pay-as-you-go or prepaid plans are commonplace, most mobile phone plans in Canada are purchased on a contract basis. This, combined with hefty telecommunication taxes, conspire to make staying connected a major line item on your monthly expenses. To avoid using more data than your plan allows, make it a habit to connect to public Wi-Fi as often as possible. 9. Don't come to Canada if you are a prejudice. Canada is the antithesis of a class-based society. Whether you work as a street meat vendor, a teacher, or the CEO of a company, you're entitled to the same rights and freedoms. It's part of a larger, blanket expectation of mutual respect, regardless of race, sexual orientation or faith that Canadians enjoy. A freedom to be that's incredibly liberating to anyone who's ever found themselves persecuted or threatened in their home country. 10. Don't come to Canada if you love showing off. While being rich is never going to be unfashionable in this world, the extravagant displays of wealth that are admired and will likely make Canadians roll their eyes. Here, being flashy doesn't automatically earn the respect of others. In fact, it's much more inclined to come off as bragging. It's not to say Canadians don't dream of wealth or find it motivating, they just tend to be more modest about it. 11. Don't come to Canada if you hate privacy. While Canadians have a well-earned reputation for being friendly and polite, immigrants from other countries often find them to be very private, almost withdrawn, in comparison. Even amongst friends, there's a level of formality between Canadians that takes some adapting to. The social conventions other nationalities take for granted, such as showing up at a friend's house to hang at a moment's notice, insisting guests eat your home-cooked food, and being incredibly open about personal details, may be considered rude and overbearing here. Be patient, and remember that the hallmarks of a good friendship are relative. Just as the weather and geography in Canada is different, the emotional landscape is different as well. For more information about living in Canada, do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.